Hey everyone, this is Jake Munger. You are listening to the Zoologist Podcast. I hope you're ready. We've got a very exciting episode on tap for today. We're going to be learning more about some of the amazing creatures that inhabit our planet. We're going to be learning facts and hearing stories, all centered around animals, all centered around the animal kingdom. I hope you're as excited to go on this journey as I am. Now let's get ready to get wild. Thank you so much for hopping on and listening to today's episode of the Zoologist Podcast. Hope it is a beautiful day whenever you're listening to this. I hope that the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and that you are as excited as I am to learn more about the animal kingdom. Today we've got a very cool, very mysterious animal that we are going to learn more about. We're going to learn about the snow leopard. And snow leopards are one of the most iconic species on the Asian continent, and they hold a significant place in many local cultures and customs. But they've also adapted to survive in some of the harshest environments on the planet, high in the mountains. And so today we're going to learn more about how they do it, how they've evolved to survive these harsh conditions, as well as their cultural significance and what's being done to save these cats from extinction. Let's dive in. Hello, and thank you once again for hopping on and listening to today's episode of the Zoologist Podcast. Hope you're having a wonderful summer so far. I hope that it's cooler wherever you are than where I am. As of this recording, it is 100 degrees outside of where I am staying. I'm not going to dox myself and let you know where I live, but I will let you know that it is very hot. I was fortunate, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I had the opportunity to go visit the Bay Area, and it is much cooler over there, almost to a fault. It was funny, I was expecting it to be much hotter than it was, so I didn't pack long sleeves or jackets or anything like that, and when I showed up, I was shocked. It was it was actually like cold. It's like 50, almost maybe 40 degrees over there, and windy too, like... Holy cow, not what I was expecting, but a nice, breath of fresh air in comparison to the weather that I'm living through right now. So, if you are a first-time listener to the podcast, first of all, I just want to say welcome. Thank you so much for hopping on. Go ahead and take the time to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming platform. I post new episodes each week, all about the animal kingdom, brand new content, all about the incredible creatures that inhabit our planet. So go ahead and follow and subscribe, and while you're at it, leave a rating and a review. Let us know what you like, let us know what you dislike. Your feedback is extremely important to me. It helps me know how I can continue to improve the podcast. It also helps get the podcast out to more and more people, so go ahead and leave a rating and a review as well. And speaking of getting the podcast out to more people, if you wouldn't mind sharing on social media or just spreading the news to your friends and family about this great new podcast that you found, or the stupid new podcast that you found that sucks, that you hate. Either way, let them know. Maybe they'll like it instead. Alrighty, now with that, let's dive into today's topic. We're going to learn more about snow leopards. And I have wanted to talk more about big cats for a while now. I did that episode about tigers a few weeks ago, if you'll remember that. But I have wanted to do more episodes about big cats in general, and I figured snow leopards were a great place to start because snow leopards are one of the more mysterious big cats out there, and they're absolutely beautiful. There's so much to learn when it comes to snow leopards. They are an iconic species across Asia, and especially in the Himalayas. In some ways, they've become almost a symbol of the Himalayan mountain range. And they have a very deep cultural importance for many of the people that live within their home range. But in addition to this, they're also incredible survivors, which I don't think we think about very often. Living in the mountains is not an easy thing to do, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but snow leopards have adapted beautifully to survive in one of the harshest environments, one of the harshest habitats on the entire planet. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to learn more about these beautiful cats. We're going to learn how they survive in this mountainous habitat. We're going to learn about the significance that they hold within local cultures and customs. And then we're going to learn about the conservation efforts that are being made to save them from extinction, why they're threatened, and what's being done to save them. But before we do that, as always, we are going to go through a little bit of background information about the snow leopard. Snow leopards are also known as the ounce, which is weird. I didn't know that until I started doing research this past week. But they are a big cat native to the mountains of Central Asia. When we think of snow leopards, you might think of a cat that wanders through the Himalayas, but the Himalayas actually only comprise the southern border of their home range. In fact, snow leopards can be found across 12 countries in Central and East Asia. They can be found as far north as Russia, as far east as Mongolia and China, and as far west as Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Uzbekistan. So they are found all over the place. They're very widespread. In fact, the total area of snow leopard habitat makes up a land area that is equal to, I think, Alaska and Texas combined, or more than Alaska and Texas combined, something like that. It's absolutely huge. That's the point that I'm trying to make. They can be found across a wide area. Now, despite their name and their appearance, snow leopards actually, their closest relatives aren't leopards. They're actually more closely related to tigers. The common ancestor of tigers and snow leopards diverged from other big cats almost 4 million years ago. Snow leopards themselves branched off about 3.2 million years ago. So their closest relatives are tigers. Despite the fact that they're closely related to the largest cat in the world, however, snow leopards are the smallest of the big cats. They can only grow to be about 7 feet or 2.1 meters long, which includes their tail, which is important. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They stand about 2 feet or 0.6 meters tall at the shoulder, and they usually weigh between about 60 and 120 pounds, or 27 and 54 kilograms, with males being larger than females. Now, like other big cats, snow leopards are solitary. In fact, they are so rarely seen together that there's no word to describe a group of snow leopards, which feels significant if you're into that kind of thing. The only time that they're seen with other snow leopards is during the mating season, which is when they've been seen hunting together as well, which is a cool little behavioral anomaly. But they're also seen with other snow leopards if a mother is raising cubs, obviously, which makes sense. Also, like other big cats, snow leopards are apex predators. They are the top predator of their range. They mainly prey on blue sheep, ibex, and other species of mountain goat, but they're very opportunistic hunters, and they won't shy away from eating things like rodents, marmots, pikas, hares, birds, and livestock. In general, snow leopards are capable of taking down prey 3 times their size. Despite how small they are extremely powerful. The only animal within their range they probably aren't able to take down are yaks, which are huge. Now, snow leopards. We talked about their mountainous habitat, and they inhabit the highest altitude of any cat on the planet. The exact elevation varies, depends on where they're found, and it depends on the season, but usually they're found between elevations of 9,800 feet, or 3,000 meters, and 14,000 feet, or 4,500 meters. And this environment is not the friendliest. There's a lot of different conditions that animals that live at high altitudes have to deal with. I might do a whole episode about this in the future, kind of similar to my deep sea episode. But for now, just to generalize, you're talking about things like steep terrain, frigid conditions. It can get very cold up in the mountains. And then, of course, relatively low levels of oxygen the higher you go. To deal with these things, snow leopards have a number of special adaptations. For one thing, they have evolved very large nasal passages and chest cavities, which allow them to increase the volume of air that they take in while they breathe, and this in turn increases the amount of oxygen that they take in. They also have smaller and more numerous red blood cells in comparison to other cats. This allows them to maximize the amount of oxygen that they're absorbing. To deal with the cold, snow leopards use their coats. We've talked a little bit about how beautiful they are, but these coats, in addition to being extremely beautiful, are also extremely practical. Snow leopards have the densest fur of any cat alive. They have about 26,000 hairs per square inch of their body. To put this in perspective for you, human beings only have about 1,300 hairs per square inch. These hairs are quite long too. So on the sides and back, they can grow to be about 2 inches, 5 centimeters long. And then on their belly, they can grow to be almost 5 inches long, or 12 centimeters for all you metric system users out there. The length of this coat and the density of it allows snow leopards to survive temperatures as low as negative 40 degrees, which is the same for Fahrenheit and Celsius, by the way. Just a fun little tidbit. It doesn't have anything to do with snow leopards. In addition to this, snow leopards will also use their tail as a kind of blanket while they rest. They'll wrap it around themselves, and then they'll use it to cover their face. Snow leopards prefer habitats with cliffs and rocky outcrops, and this is where that rough terrain comes into play. It's all well and good that snow leopards prefer habitats that are a little bit steeper, but this can make maneuvering, just getting around, quite difficult, let alone hunting and chasing down prey. But snow leopards have evolved ways of coping with this, and that tail is a huge help in this regard. Now, that tail is one of the longest of all big cats. It can be 90% as long as its body, at 3.5 feet or 105 centimeters long. And this tail provides balance across steep terrain. It acts as a kind of counterweight. So when you see like someone walking over a tightrope and they have that giant pole that they use to balance themselves, a snow leopard's tail functions in a similar way. And it allows them to chase prey across what are almost sheer cliffs. If you've ever seen a clip of a snow leopard hunting down its prey, you'll know what I'm talking about. It is dizzying to watch these things pivot and churn across what are almost vertical drops. It's very, very impressive, but also terrifying if you're scared of heights. Now, in addition to all of this, snow leopards also have hind legs that are longer than their front legs, which allows them to pick up speed more easily when they're chasing down and hunting prey. These powerful legs also make them excellent jumpers. In fact, snow leopards can leap farther than any other animal, 50 feet, or 15.2 meters. That's 7 times their own length. I thought tigers were impressive, knowing that they could leap about 32 feet horizontally, but snow leopards have them beat. And then, of course, snow leopards have muscular chests that also act as shock absorbers when they're jumping from ledge to ledge across steep terrain. All of this basically adds up to an animal that is built to move quickly across rough terrain in pursuit of fast-moving prey. Now, in addition to this, snow leopards also have adaptations to help them walk across deep snow and ice. They have huge paws. They're covered with fur, and they act as snowshoes. They evenly distribute the weight of the snow leopard as they walk, and this allows them to walk across snow without sinking in. Kind of a big natural advantage in the habitat that they live. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to learn more about these incredible cats, the cultural significance that they have, why they're being threatened, and what's being done to save them from extinction. Don't go anywhere. Are you a brand new podcaster, hoping to share what you're passionate about to whoever's willing to listen, but you aren't sure where to start? Navigating the logistics of your podcast can be confusing, from tracking growth to getting your podcast on the biggest platforms like Apple and Spotify. That's why I use Captivate. Captivate is a podcast publishing site that's user-friendly and offers everything you need to fulfill your podcast's full potential. They'll help you publish your podcast to all of the most popular platforms, as well as help you track your growth through daily, weekly, 28, and 90-day download numbers, as well as the averages, so you can see where your podcast might be flourishing or floundering. What's more, they'll help you with promotion and advertising. They offer free courses on how to start and run the perfect podcast, and they even throw in a free website with your subscription, completely customizable to fit your podcast's personality. You can sign up now starting at $19 a month, and you'll even get a free 7-day trial so you can decide whether or not it's right for you. Sign up today at the.zoologist.net/captivate, and what's more, you'll be supporting my show. Captivate truly is a podcaster's best friend. Alrighty, welcome back as we continue our discussion about snow leopards. So far we've learned about some of the adaptations these cats have to survive in the harsh environments that they do. And now we are going to learn more about the cultural significance of the snow leopard and conservation efforts to save them from extinction. So I've mentioned that snow leopards, several times I've mentioned this, that snow leopards are an iconic Asian species. And I've also mentioned that they hold an important place in many local cultures, and now I want to get specific with it. Indigenous people in Asia have traditionally viewed the snow leopard as a sacred animal, seen as a protector of the mountains, a source of spiritual power. I was fortunate enough, I found an excellent article, the link to which I'll be putting in the description. I highly recommend you look into it. Among other things, this article goes through some specific examples of the snow leopard's significance within different Asian cultures, as told by people within those cultures. To the Kyrgyz people, for example, of Kyrgyzstan, the snow leopard, which is called the Ak-Ilabirs, or the white panther in Kyrgyz. I really hope I pronounced that right. If I butchered that, and you know that I butchered that, I apologize. But the snow leopard, the importance of the snow leopard dates back centuries. It's considered to be part of their heritage, a talisman, and a national icon of Kyrgyzstan. It's also considered to be a symbol of heroism due to its strength. Other cultures see the cat as a mountain spirit. For example, the Mongols, the Khakas, the Tuvinians, and the Altaians. Man, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. These different groups, they see the cat as a representative of heavenly forces here on Earth. It's seen as kind of a totem, a protector of the family, and to live alongside the snow leopard was considered a sign of prominence, a sign of distinction. In Mongolia, calling the guardian of the mountains by its actual name is seen as a sign of disrespect, even to the present day. Instead, when people talk about the snow leopard there, they use descriptive names such as spotted furcoat. It's also seen by some as a symbol of justice, an embodiment of everything that is pure in the mountains. Now, what is it that makes the snow leopard so legendary? What is it that has captured the hearts and minds of so many people and so many cultures when it comes to these cats? Well, there are several reasons. First of all, we've talked about their beauty, their coloring, their coat. It makes them look almost ghostly. But the biggest reason is probably the fact that snow leopards are extremely rare, they're extremely shy, and they're extremely elusive. Snow leopards prefer to avoid human contact and confrontation whenever they can. Despite their fearsome appearance, there are no verified accounts of a snow leopard attacking a human. Instead, they prefer to run. They prefer to avoid people. In fact, unlike other carnivores, they won't even stick around to defend their kills. If you approach a snow leopard while it's eating, it won't get aggressive. It'll just run away. Their beautiful fur coat helps tremendously with their ability to hide. This coat, we've talked about how practical it is. It's excellent for keeping the snow leopard warm, but it also makes the snow leopard a master of camouflage. They can blend in beautifully with their mountain surroundings. It also helps that the snow leopard lives in one of the most inhospitable and difficult to reach habitats on the planet. That certainly is a huge boon when you're trying to avoid confrontation. More than 70% of snow leopard habitat remains unexplored. Just think about that for a minute. That is a lot of snow leopard habitat that has yet to be traversed. So what is it that makes snow leopards threatened? We've talked about their cultural significance. It would seem that this is an animal that should be well protected, but unfortunately, despite this significance, snow leopards face a number of threats to their survival as a species, and they've suffered a 20% decline in their population over the past 2 decades. This is a big deal because snow leopards are crucial indicators of the health of their environment. They're seen as a keystone species because of their role in keeping herbivore populations in check. I believe we talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago during the Yellowstone episode. I don't know if I dove into this too much, but I talked about how wolves in Yellowstone have been a huge in keeping elk populations in check and keeping the ecosystem healthy. Snow leopards are the same. They keep unhealthy individuals from perpetuating, and they keep herbivore populations from spiraling out of control. Snow leopards, as of right now, are currently listed as vulnerable by the IUCN, which I guess is a win. They were listed as endangered for years and years, but the reason that they were bumped up to vulnerable is not because their numbers are increasing. It's because there was a calculation error, I guess. By some estimates, there are fewer than 8,000 of these cats left in the wild, and there could be as few as 4,000. So what are the threats that snow leopards face as a species? Well, first, there's habitat loss. Snow leopards have massive home ranges. They need a lot of space to roam and hunt for prey. Female snow leopards can have home ranges of up to 48 square miles, and for males, they can be as large as 80 square miles. Unfortunately, snow leopard habitats are expected to shrink due to climate change. In addition to this, increases in herding and other agricultural pursuits have led to a loss of habitat right now, which has also led to conflict with human beings who do not appreciate having snow leopards hunting down their flocks. Many countries have attempted to establish protected areas for snow leopards to roam, but according to one study, 40% of these protected areas are too small for snow leopards. They need more space in order to roam. Now, snow leopards are also hunted for their fur and body parts, which are used in traditional medicines. Apparently, snow leopard body parts are seen as a cheaper alternative to tiger parts. Tigers, if you remember my tiger episode, I talked about how tiger bones, tiger claws, tiger body parts generally are used in traditional Asian medicines, and snow leopards are as well. So what's being done to save them from extinction? Well, for one thing, international legislation prevents the trade of snow leopard products. It is illegal to trade furs. It is illegal to trade snow leopard body parts. The cat is also listed as a protected species in many countries within its range, so hunting the cat is considered poaching. In addition to this, several conservation groups are working to keep the species alive through a number of different strategies. This includes increasing the amount of protected land in wilderness, which is much needed apparently, as well as education, which helps people understand the importance of snow leopard conservation, the importance that they have within their environment, and then finding ways to prevent snow leopards from hunting livestock, creating buffers or barriers, so to speak, figuratively, maybe literally. I don't know how they do it exactly. One of the more interesting strategies, and one that's probably going to be the most successful, is getting indigenous tribes and local cultures involved. And it's, when you think about it, it's a strategy that makes a lot of sense. By integrating local culture into conservation efforts, it's going to increase the likelihood of success because it gets people invested and active in these efforts. Snow leopards hold an important place in many of these cultures, and by getting these people involved, you get people who are much more invested in seeing the snow leopard live on as a species. It also is going to increase appreciation for these beautiful cats as more and more people learn and understand the importance that they hold within these cultures. Thank you so much for hopping on and listening to today's episode of the Zoologist Podcast. Hope that you had as good a time as I did learning more about snow leopards and their importance within their Himalayan and alpine habitats. If you would like to learn more about the snow leopard, go ahead and check out those research links. I put the links to some of the articles that I used in the description in the show notes. You can check those out and learn more about these beautiful, beautiful cats. Also, if you have any episode ideas, animals that you'd like to learn more about, go ahead and reach out to me. You can reach out via Twitter at the.zoologist.net/Twitter. You can also email me at the.zoologist.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you once again so much for hopping on and listening. Have a great rest of your week, and as always, have a wild day.